The Weed of the Week is sponsored by the Enlist Weed Control System from Dow AgroSciences, a new herbicide and trait system that will build on glyphosate.
You work to protect your farm's legacy and to keep it going. Introducing the Enlist Weed Control System, an advanced herbicide and trait system that will build on glyphosate for exceptional control of tough weeds. The next chapter begins.
Our weed of the week is Roundup resistant Palmer pigweed.
Well, Roundup resistant, it's also ALS resistant and probably resistant to a whole host of other chemistries. It seems like this is the toughest weed to control around the country. We hear more complaints about Palmer pigweed control, especially in soybeans, and especially since it became Roundup resistant.
Okay, so I still claim that water hemp and Palmer pigweed are basically the same weed.
They're very, very close relatives.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to tell the difference. They'll talk about this little hair on the end of the leaf and stuff like that. But you know what? I don't care if you have water hemp or Palmer pigweed. Both of them can put on over 1 million seeds per plant. Both of them can rob dramatic amounts of yield. Both of them are probably Roundup resistant and ALS resistant in your area, and both of them can be controlled with the same herbicides.
All right, now when we talk about corn, we can start out with a pre-emerge herbicide. I like Balance Flex, that gives nice residual. Any of the premixes that have Balance Flex work pretty well. Also, we've had decent luck with Triple Flex and Sure Start, although they are ALS products in there, like the Python component anyway, so it's not like it's great, but it's still much better than just your standard grass herbicide. But post-emerge, we got lots of options.
Well, don't forget about Verdict pre-emerge too.
That would be another good one. Post-emerge, I like Status, although it doesn't have great residual. If you have to spray a little later in the season, we can use Callisto, Lotus, Impact, and adding in atrazine with any of those post-emerge killers in corn works pretty well.
Well, I noticed how you took the easiest crop to control Palmer
Sure, why
pigweed
not?
first. Let
We'll
me take
knock that
the next easiest one. Let's go to wheat. If you start with Sharpen, you follow up with Husky, Palmer pigweed gone.
Well, as long as you're using a high rate of Husky and you don't have heavy pressure, that works pretty well. But then let's talk about soybeans. What our recommendation is for soybeans is to use 3 different sites of action pre-emerge. And don't use any of those products, you can use post. With the 3 sites of action we're talking about, one of the yellows, like Treflan, Sonlan, or Prowl. I like Metribuzin, and you can find that in a premix like Authority MTZ, or you can just buy straight Metribuzin. And then I also like one of the PPOs, like Valor or Authority.
Okay, so with Fierce, we don't want to put the yellow with that. What we want to do there, since it's a DNA and since it's a PPO, we want to throw the Metribuzin with Fierce. So not to confuse you or anything, but Fierce together with Metribuzin or Authority MTZ together with one of the yellows, Treflan, Sonlan, or Prowl. That's our 3 site of action program that we believe is the very best thing you can do pre-emerge in soybeans, because let's face it, post-emerge in soybeans, if Roundup doesn't work, we don't have any real good options for you. FlexStar's okay, Cobra's okay, but neither one of them is likely going to be perfect.
Well, and the other thing is you can add some more residual in with your post. So when you're spraying a post-emerge product, you could put Warrant in, you could put some Outlook or Dual in post-emerge and try and get some more residual control, but you aren't going to burn it down with those residual products. They don't have burn down, they just have soil residual.
Well, once again, our weed of the week is Palmer pigweed. It is incredibly difficult to control because it is a lot of times both Roundup and ALS resistant. You should have a pretty good plan, and Palmer pigweed shouldn't rob a big percentage of your yield on your farm.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week's Weed, but Iron Talk is coming up next.